Paying with Your Blood, Part 7. After going to the psychiatrist and having a positive outcome, seeing my daughter, my son, and my daughter being really comfortable around me, I thought that when I do go to the next contact service center session, and see my son, I thought that my daughter would come along as well. But what happened was the same thing just kept going on, whereas I would only see my son for that 2 hours. So my daughter apparently decided not to visit myself. But something beautiful occurred along the lines of myself going to this contact session and visiting my children, but only seeing my son. A man got involved. This man was more assertive and more rigorous. Well, he said to the mother about 6, maybe 8 weeks ago, he said to the mother that the next time you bring your son along in a fortnight, you need to come 20 minutes earlier because we're going to try something. We're going to try and leave your daughter with the father and her brother and see how it goes. Now, because you'll be in a waiting area, this will mean that if your daughter does get scared, then she can just come back and return to yourself. But if she doesn't get scared, it'll be a good thing because she'll make contact with her father and their relationship can develop. Mind you, I hadn't seen my daughter for such a long time. Before the psychiatrist, if you were to add up the total amount of time that I had seen my daughter, it wouldn't even amount to 5 minutes. Now, 2 weeks had gone past, the event came, and the male supervisor said, don't forget what I said to you, you've got to come back 20 minutes early. And there I am, I'm playing with my son. We're having a ball, as usual, having a great time. I remember there was a point really close towards the end of the contact visit where this man, this supervisor, was moving his eyebrows in a specific direction, and I didn't understand what he was. He actually looked funny, and I'm like, what? And he's started to move his head like, just look that way, and sure enough, I've looked that way, and there's my daughter. She had a little smirk on her face. I freaked out. It's just a beautiful moment. I smiled. I didn't want to, just be too outrageous, but I didn't want to intimidate her. She hasn't seen me for such a long time, and we played for 20 minutes, and it was great. And she had no fear at all. And the relationship between my daughter from that moment had begun. And it became the three of us. So now it was my son, my daughter, and myself, which is a beautiful thing. Because it's good to have contact with family. Now, there's been a couple of visits after that where, because we're confined to this small building, it's so small in my eyes, and I'm sure to be small in many other people's eyes. It's like a daycare center, and honestly, if it was a daycare center, it would be a really small daycare center. It's a double brick building. It's really old. I'm not complaining that it's old. It's just that it's really small. In the beginning, when you haven't seen your kids for so long, for example, if you haven't seen your kids for 12 months, you don't care where you see your kids. You couldn't care less how big the space or the place is. You just need to see your kids. But as time goes along and you're doing things, for example, fishing. I want to go fishing. I want to take my kids fishing. I want to take my kids on a barbecue, a picnic, take them for a drive, take them to their cousins, maybe go play bowling, anything, playing cricket, a sport, going to the pools. You're so limited and so confined, and I'm trying to bring the events to them, bring the action to them. So about a month ago, I bought some electronic fish, some fishing rods that had magnets on the ends of them, and this male supervisor, he's very, very helpful. I've never had any person help me to the extent that he has helped me. What I mean by that is, no one in the administration of contact services has actually helped me the way this guy has helped me. This guy has helped me fill up a big container full of water so I can put these electronic fish in there, appreciating that my kids are going to have a good time. This guy has helped me take the bags that I bring with me back to my car. No one's ever helped me do that. I mean, I've had some, it depends. People might even look at it as derogatory. Maybe I just misunderstood what this female supervisor was saying. But once when I was leaving with my stuff, she said to me that I look like Santa Claus with all these things that I'm bringing for my children. And specifically at that time, it was for my son, knowing that my daughter's not going to come along. But maybe she was joking. I'm not going to take that as a derogatory comment. But the point of the matter is, no one has actually helped me. What's important about this specific point is the fact that I am the father of these children. If you help me, this is a contact visit. I'm here to see my kids. If you help me, ultimately you're helping the children. So I personally deem this as an act of where this gentleman has helped my kids. Not only helped me, but he's also helped my kids. He's shown empathy. I mean, projecting sympathy. In my eyes, I know this guy's got a heart. But then a couple of weeks go by and I see my kids again. We're making progress. And so this is we're about 2 to maybe 3 weeks ago. And I'm saying to myself, I can't wait to see my kids again. Why? Because I want to see my kids, but I've also got a surprise for my son. The surprise that I have for my son is his birthday. His birthday is coming up, and I have a birthday party planned for my son. And the theme is to be Lightning McQueen, because he loves cars and he's obsessed in Lightning McQueen, and that's fine. He has chosen what he has, and I respect that. So I thought to myself, I'll get him a Lightning McQueen cake, and I did. I'll get a stereo. We'll get some Lightning McQueen songs. So I purchased the soundtrack, and we'll play Frozen statues. We'll do some drawing, some face painting. And I had one specific thing that was so critical and so important that many people will never understand unless they have studied psychology. People like my friend Mate will understand. I'm sure there's a lot of men that are going their own way that will understand as well, because I have found men that are going their own way to be very intelligent men. Many men have also dwelled into the subject of psychology, specifically narcissistic personality disorder and other cluster B disorders. What I'm trying to say is, my son's birthday hasn't come yet. It's going to be in a few days. But there was a makeup visit a couple of days ago, Wednesday to be precise. Today's Saturday. My son's birthday is in a few days from now. What I knew is this. I knew that if I see my son on Wednesday, the mother's not going to bring my children this Saturday, because she has been skipping a lot of contact visits. Obviously it's malicious and it is detrimental to the relationship between my children and myself. So what I did was I thought I'll surprise my kids, specifically here my son, it's his birthday that's coming up, by holding the birthday party on the Wednesday. And that way she can't, as in the mother can't, sever what I have planned as being the birthday party because I would have had it on Wednesday. And that way, even if she doesn't bring my kids this Saturday, even though it will really hurt me, it will be too late because I've held that birthday party. And all I can say is we had a ball. It was awesome. It was great, to the extent where even the supervisors themselves, they were ecstatic. We all had a ball. It was awesome. My kids didn't even want to leave. My son, when there's about 10 more minutes to go, he understood that soon it's going to be time to go, because we get told by the supervisors, look, there's 10 minutes to go, there's 5 more minutes to go. Just pretty much mentally preparing us to get ready for the children to leave, and even if we have some last things to say or give to the kids, to do so. Now, with my daughter, she watched a few things during these 2 hours. Mind you, she even did some face paint on my face. She painted my face with some face paint that I purchased and brought along with me to the visit. I even face painted her face with Spider-Man. So I face painted her Spider-Man on her face. She was comfortable, she was joyous, she was ecstatic. So was everybody else. It was probably one of the best days, if not the best day of my life, and it was just perfect. It was one of the only times where I just couldn't, like, everything fell in place. It was nearly too good to be true. My daughter said to me, when am I going to see you next? I want to see you again. I said to her, don't worry, this is only a makeup visit. I'm going to see you on Saturday, which will be in 3 days. Look at me. 1, 2, 3. My daughter's only 5, so I'm still talking to her the way you talk to a child. And she got really, really happy knowing that she's going to see me in 3 days. My son, on the other hand, put his head down. He was a little bit upset. And I said, it's okay, Daddy. I gave him a hug. And he said to me, I'm going to be missing you. I looked at him and I said, I'm going to be missing you too, son. And I gave him, just squeezed him just a little bit more, gave him a hug, kissed him on the forehead, and I said to him, I'll see you in a few days. And they took off. Today there was another visit where I was supposed to see both my children. When I rocked up, mind you, there was one thing that I forgot to mention. For that last visit on Wednesday, that man wasn't there. I mean, that was a makeup visit, and he's usually not there on Wednesdays. He's usually there on the weekends, so he couldn't be there. But all the supervisors do take reports down. Now, today he was there. Today being Saturday, 3 days later. As I was walking into the contact center, he noticed me and he looked at me with a big smile and he said to me, man, I heard what happened on Wednesday. Good on ya. That was awesome. Fantastic news. And I thanked him for that. And it was nice to hear something like that coming from any supervisor, to be honest with you. Specifically, I shouldn't say his name. I'm not going to say his name. I'm going to delete that. But anyway, so I'm waiting in the waiting room and I can hear the mother being abusive to the supervisors, and that man actually said to the mother of the kids, why are you raising your voice at me? And the mother of the kids was complaining about some things that you wouldn't even think would make sense. They don't make sense. For example, why did the father get an expensive toy for his son but didn't get an expensive toy for his daughter? I mean, it's his birthday, don't you get it? You took the cake back home with you. You understand, they explained everything to you. But anyway, I understand all this information is getting collected and will be gathered for later, on a later date, during the final hearing. But in the meantime, the children are just getting abused left, right and center. How are the children getting abused left, right, and center? It's plain and obvious. Today, my daughter was too scared to visit me. So today, after 3 days of my daughter dying to see me, we had one of the best days of our life. And yet, 3 days later, she's afraid to see me. Isn't that emotional abuse? Isn't that psychological abuse? Doesn't that hurt? I mean, doesn't that hurt a father? What about you guys that work in the contact center? Don't you guys get hurt? They were hurt today. I saw it all over their faces. Specifically, this man. He was cut. He was hurting because he knew what's going on. He knows what's going on. And my son was hurting today. He said that he wanted his sister to stay behind and he wanted her to play with us. When my son went to use the bathroom today, in front of the supervisor, my son pulled his pants down, sat on a toilet, and I'll make sure that there's a supervisor there. You need to make sure there's a supervisor there in these type of circumstances, because with allegations that are thrown at fathers these days, at men in general, but specifically in these situations, at fathers these days, they're going to get investigated behind your back. You're going to be guilty till proven innocent. You're not even going to know about it. That's how it works here. So I've said to one of the supervisors, I go, please, just come and have a look. Please stay here, because it's actually better for my son that you stay here. And as my son's pulling his pants down, his underwear was filthy. And I said to my son, I go, son, don't you wipe down there? And it was just filthy. It was putrid. It was like someone got some feces, wet feces, and just rubbed it on his underwear, on their underwear, or what have you. And I said to my son, I go, why didn't you wipe your bum? And he said, we don't have any toilet paper at home. I mean, he's in front of the supervisor. Everything else is happening in front of the supervisors. Is this it? Is this our legislation? Is this where the dollar stops? Is this our children? I mean, how much more do kids have to suffer? Where is the love? There is no love. It's all about money. It's all about money. But I will be getting to that in another episode, a video that I'll be putting together with concise facts, figures, precise, and forget about the conspiracies, because it's not a conspiracy theory. It'll just be hard, straight facts. That'll be in a future video. But for now, when the mother came to take my son again didn't want to leave. It wasn't the same. It wasn't the same as it was when I was with my daughter and my brother was with my son was with his sister. And it was a bit of a downer, you know what I mean? And it's really sad. Thanks for listening. And I really appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys soon.